Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about the Leatherman WAVE first generation. This is a small, pretty handy multi-tool. It's not made in production anymore. It was made in the late 1990s, I believe, into the early 2000s, and it has a feature set of very useful tools in it. And we do see some of them graduating onto the WAVE second generation and also the WAVE Plus, which is the third generation. And we'll compare each and every one of the tools together in a few moments here. But the WAVE first generation is an excellent small tool in my opinion for its size to weight ratio and what it offers. Here in the table we have the Leatherman WAVE first generation here, and I do have a little bit of a paracord kind of lanyard holder thing here, and we'll go ahead and get the Leatherman WAVE Plus on this side and the Leatherman WAVE regular with the second generation, and we can put them together here, and you can kind of see the differences between all three of them for the sizing, and we'll go over them later on too to compare a little bit. Let's start with the tool set on the WAVE first generation. So we do have the lanyard key holder out here, so I do have this piece of cord attached to it, as you can see, and on the outside we have 4 immediate tools, and on each of the tools, or some of them at least, there's sort of like a marking on it to kind of tell you if it's the straight blade or the serrated blade, which is kind of nice that they include that on this. It's important to note that these fasteners here, I'm not sure what to call them, or nut or bolts if you will, they're flat. They're completely flat against the side here. They're not raised like in the later iterations of the WAVE generation 2 and 3. So let's go ahead with the main blade here. It's very thin, very small, but it's a liner locking blade, as we can see here. It's got a nice, decent edge here. I try to reprofile this a little bit, so it is somewhat sharp again, but it's a decent blade. And it's got a nice point to it, if a little bit small. And then we can go the opposite side here and look at the saw, which is a nice, decent saw. Also liner locks here on the outside, which is quite nice. Got some nice sharp teeth there. And let's go to the other side and look at the serrated blade here, which you can open one-handed. So we have the serration part here, and the sheep's foot area on the top here, and a little bit of a draw cut edge at the very tip point here. So not much of the length there, but it is a cutting edge. Let's go ahead and close that and get to the 3-sided file here. We have a diamond coated section, which is great, a metal saw here on the bottom, and a cross-hatch section for the file here, and that also locks. So those are the 4 outer tools of the Leatherman WAVE. Let's go ahead and open it up and look at the plier head here. It's one of the older type of plier heads. It's pretty thin. We have a very thin and long needle nose tip here with fine gradient teeth. And then we have our regular plier head here in the center. And then we have our wire cutters here in the middle. Let's access the tools over here. We have our bigger slotted screwdriver here, and these don't lock, so it's not really that much of a retention system in there. There is some sort of physical retention. And then we have our 3D Phillips head screwdriver, which is a great addition. We have this long thin shank here, and next to it we have the keyring holder, and we can see here. And let's get to our can opener, bottle cap lifter, V-notch wire stripper. So it's kind of hard to see with the lanyard in the way, but we do have our bottle cap lifter, can opener, and the V-notch wire stripper there on the tool. And that's it for that side. Let's go over to the other side here. And we're going to open up a kind of an interesting tool on the WAVE. You have to open it up all the way, and it'll click out, and we have a pair of scissors here with a nice depressor here. It's got a nice weight to it and feeling to it, tactile feeling at least for my thumb, and I have rather small hands here, But this is our scissor here. It works okay. It does get binded up sometimes, so it's not the best scissor, and it's definitely not comparable to, say, a Victorinox pair of scissors, but at least they were trying something new and different for this type of tool here. Let's go ahead and close that up, place it back in there. Next up is a series of different types of slotted screwdrivers, thin ones and small ones, so I gotta be careful how I pull them out. But we have a medium-sized slotted screwdriver here, or the largest one, if you will. And then we also have a longer slotted screwdriver. This one's sort of the medium one of the tool itself. And then we have a very, very tiny slotted screwdriver here, which has been filed down in mine for some reason. I did buy this used, but that is our slotted screwdriver there. It works well for a poker bit. And that's the tool set of the Leatherman WAVE first generation. Let's go ahead and compare the heads together of the second generation and the third generation, as there are some differences between those. So here is our Leatherman second generation. And our Leatherman third generation. So we can see the evolution of these plier heads. This one's a little bit off center here, so I do apologize for that, but you can kind of see in the original, it's very thin, not too much reinforcements on the side, and rather long. The second generation kind of beefs up the plier head here and gives us a little bit more cutting real estate for the wire cutter there, and a little bit stronger, beefier head. So it's not as much as a needle nose, but still comes to a point. And then the final iteration here, we have the replaceable 154 cm wire cutters here. And we also have a little bit more of a beefier side addition to the head here. Although I would probably go as far as to guess that probably the second generation has the more stabilized, stronger head, just in the engineering and design of the third head. But that doesn't detract from it, in my opinion, in terms of its utility. So if you're doing a lot of wire cutting, maybe the third generation might be something for you to get with the replaceable wire cutters. But these are stronger in the center and also stronger in the first generation. So you can kind of see the differences between all three generations here. So I just wanted to show you that with the Leatherman WAVE first, second, and third generations there. And I'm pretty sure the ruler is not available on this one either, so it's not stamped into the edges here. And also to note, as I said before, these bolts here, they were flat here, then they're raised here, and then they're kind of raised over here too as well. So unlike the end part, rather, if we look at these together, these are nice and flat and trimmed down. These are kind of rounded here. Also important to note, obviously, we don't have a pocket clip for the WAVE first generation. Otherwise, it would have been a nice little EDC tool pocket for myself. But overall, this one's been used quite a lot. It's a little bit kind of mismatched on the plier head here. Someone had used and abused this one long before I got to it. But it still works fairly well, and I use it for my electronics kit here, which I'll bring out and show you. So this fits nicely inside the spine of my electronics kit here. So the Leatherman WAVE is pretty versatile in what it can do. I find that having a multi-tool with a diamond-coated sided file is a great tool to have. My thoughts on it is that for a first-generation tool, it is definitely groundbreaking in terms of outside accessible one-handed tools, which is fantastic, that lock. So they really pioneered that pretty well with the WAVE first generation, in my opinion. And the subsequent after models that came after it also kind of improved on it. But the fact that you have 4 outside accessible tools that are a main blade, a serrated blade, a 3-sided file with a metal saw on it, and a diamond coated side that's lockable, and also a saw. So that's quite a useful little multi-tool for a variety of different tasks, and it's quite small, so you can pocket this while you're hiking, traveling, put it in an emergency kit, if you will. It doesn't have the ruler, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. It's not a deal breaker. but it is a lightweight and good option. If you can find these used on eBay for like around $35 or so, that's a pretty good buy, although that probably isn't going to be possible in this day and age, but you can still try. It's definitely worthwhile for a collector too, as it has some nice aesthetics to it. It says Leatherman WAVE patent pendant on it, so that's how I know this is one of the older types of Leatherman multi-tools out there. So if you catch one and you're thinking about getting a multi-tool, I definitely recommend looking into it, as it's a lightweight option to EDC. Definitely EDC-able. The only thing is that you don't have the pot clip with it, so that is a minus. But you do have this keyring holder, which you can attach to a belt holder loop if you want it to. That's all I have to say about the Leatherman WAVE first generation. I want to thank you for watching, and enjoy your day.